What the eSTAR template teaches us about digitalization. And let's have a look. As Carl said, he said it already. You can look it up on our website, keymkr.com. Apart from what he said, we also, as we have a focus on active medical devices, we also run an in-house test lab, which is accredited by the German accreditation body. And yeah, we deal with everything around the technical documentation for CE mark and for international markets. And that's where our experience with 510Ks comes from. And if you want to go into that, you'll have to deal with the eSTAR templates. And as we have seen, this can teach you 4 things about digitalization in general. The first 2 are pretty obvious, and the second 2 are stating what digitalization is not about. So I think this is a very promising start. Let's go into the details. First, we take a look at this eSTAR template. What is it? Is it a form or is it a table of contents? What is it? So on the face of it, it's a PDF file, yeah, roughly 5 megabytes. When you open this PDF file, you get a view like this here on the right. This is the header of this file. And in line 3 here, it's already getting interesting. It says status eSTAR incomplete. It's quite an intelligent PDF form because all along the left margin of this form runs a bar which indicates whether you completed this section successfully and completely or not. So the question whether your submission for a 510K is complete or incomplete is easily indicated by this bar. So it's a form, yes, but it's a very intelligent one. It has many, many sections, and we'll go into one as an example. And I picked out biocompatibility because it so nicely illustrates what level of detail this template, this PDF template asks for. So you have the biocomp header already with a red bar. And the first thing the template asks from you is how many tissue contacting materials are there? And maybe you have 3 of them, then you choose 3, and then the next section opens up. And this 3 times, of course, because you have to detail the materials that are in contact with the patient. It asks for a description, what part of your device is really in contact, and then for the particular material. So don't write polycarbonate. That's not sufficient. Yeah, you have to go into the details. Macrolone 2258, whatever you use, you have to give the details, and it goes even deeper. Yeah. It asks for the name of color additives. Honestly, I've prepared quite a lot of submissions, but I had to Google a name of a color additive to have one for the example, because I've never seen a report where this was asked for. But okay, the FDA asked for it, they get it. Next questions are, what kind of contact is it? Yeah. Is it a contact with skin or mucosal membrane or blood, bone, whatever you choose? Then you choose the duration. So these are the classifications from the ISO 10993 standard. So the knowledge of these standards or these classifications of the standards are integrated. And what is derived from that is also integrated, because if you choose something that is in contact with skin for a permanent range of time, you'll get the next 3 questions. Yeah. So how did you conduct your tests? Cytotoxicity, sensitization, irritation. You press the button, you get the next questions. Yeah. And it goes into details. Yeah. What is the extraction method? What is the extraction medium? What are the extractions conditions? And just for the sake of the example, yeah, I chose something, and what happened? Bam, a fat warning stating that my combination of extraction vehicles and the other facts that I gave doesn't match entirely. So I was asked to please justify why the selected extraction vehicle is appropriate. So really the knowledge about standard requirements is deeply integrated into this template. And this was only the section about biocompatibility. There are more. Yeah, basically everything that you know from a 510K. Yeah. You have to describe your predicate device, labeling, biocomp, as we've seen, EMC, all the safety tests, and so on and so on. And what you have to input is not only the structured data that you've seen. Yeah, you choose from a drop-down list. We're in contact with intact skin. Yeah, but you also have to upload attachments into this PDF. For example, the EMC test, something that you normally get back from the EMC lab, several pages test report, and you have to upload the complete report into this PDF. And on the same, in the same process, you have to state where is the immunity statement, or where is the emissions diagram. And so a kind of traceability is created. What you end up with is that everything that you would normally input in a normal 510K, that you normally would deliver as a set of PDFs, is now contained into this one PDF template. So it's not the whole. You feel like you've input the whole file, but it's not the complete file. But it's quite a lot of the DHF that you uploaded into this file. When you come to the last page, there are these buttons for export and import, because you do not upload this PDF to the FDA website, but an XML file that is created from this PDF. So if you press export data, all of the contents that you put into the form are transferred into an XML file, and this basically serves as an interface to the PDF, to the FDA world. So you can clearly see for the FDA, this is part of a process. Yeah, they put the what formerly was known as the refuse to accept checklist. They put these process into the PDF. They save them some time. They will otherwise spend on your submissions, and they streamlined their process, which is fine because it serves our purpose as well. It's good for reaction times. It's good for reliability. There's no mix-up of versions and data, and that's a good thing. So let's summarize. Is it a form? Yes, it's a form, a very intelligent one. It checks completeness. It knows all the details, what's in the standards, and for the FDA, it's their starting point for their review process. And you, as a manufacturer, you have to get to this starting point, and you want to create an eSTAR complete, yeah, with a nice green sidebar submission. And with all the details that are asked from you, you don't get there by chance. This needs to be a planned process. So the FDA has a process for this, and you shall have a process yourself. This is the first takeaway from this talk. So let's go on. Knowledge is power, you know that. But how does this affect the interaction with authorities, or in Europe, with the notified bodies? Yeah? Now, think of this process and what you have there. There's an upside. Yeah, the compilation of contents is guided. You have a handrail. Yeah, this red and green handrail where you go along, and if you follow that properly, you'll end up with a complete submission. That's a good thing. Completeness check is integrated, and for some weeks or months now, the upload portal for the XML file is ready. Yeah. Submission is easy because it's an upload. It's an upload to a website of one file. Yeah. How easy could it be? And one of the great joys for me is Canada is joining in on this submission format. Yeah, on the very, it's on the first page that that you tick a box whether the submission is for Canada or it's for the US. Yeah, honestly, I would love to see an EU button over there. That would be great, I think, for all of you. And FDA is keen on improving this process. Yeah. We are presently with version 4 of this submission template. And when I first saw it in January or February, it was version 1 still. So they are tweaking this. It goes better and better, it gets better and better. So a good thing. That's the upside. But where there's an upside, there's a downside. No way of cheating. Yeah. In a text document, you can hide structures, and you can try to put a cloud over some details. Yeah, but the details that are asked in this form, either you have an answer for a field or you don't. And if you don't, you stay with a red bar and you're not eSTAR complete. So it's really difficult. And if you choose to submit such an incomplete submission, a record is kept of this of your submission history. Yeah, so you get an email, a confirmation email, which clearly states which record has been kept of your incomplete submission. And I think it's such a nice sentence on this form at the very end. The FDA intends to verify the accuracy of your responses. So nobody knows what this verification or the collection of your misdeeds will end up in, or you will be charged a higher review fee, or you always end up at the end of the queue. Whatever will come from it, we don't know. But it's an automated process, and if you regularly submit incomplete things, they will know and they will act accordingly. So be prepared. What comes with this is the 2A takeaway. Digitally enabled change control is relentless. I admit this sentence was written and was sure to be in the presentation even before I had a rough sketch, because I just wanted it, because it's part of an essential truth that everybody should know for the future. If you intend to add information to your initial submission, yeah, you also do this via the eSTAR template, and they will have means to check what you changed. Yeah? And it's very clear that they can tell what you changed, and they will ask you why you did so. So they have all the means for a very detailed change control, they being the FDA. And you should have the same rigor with change control. This is the 2A takeaway of this section. Now, imagine the FDA. You were the FDA administrator, and all these PDFs, or better, the XML files, they keep coming in. What would you do with them? Of course, you all put them into a database so that you can run queries back and forth. And now we let our imagination play a little and see what kind of queries could that be. Yeah. For example, across manufacturers. Yeah. You go through this huge database and ask which products use this well-known polymer as a material of an applied part. Yeah. So the serial email asking all manufacturers that use a certain polymer as an applied part, as a material of an applied part, it's a matter of minutes. Yeah. The same applies to, is a certain warning integrated into all the IFUs of a certain product code, of products of a certain code. Yeah. It's an easy question, sent out within minutes, and you will have to answer that. Yeah. The same with standard versions that are applied or not applied. Yeah. It's very easy after major updates to ask, did you mind the timelines for the validity of the standards? Yeah. Are you already on the new standard? No problem. Yeah. So these would be questions that the FDA can send out based on this database in a few years when it's well filled to other manufacturers to answer. But similar questions arise when they come to an inspection. Yeah, they can easily check if similar products have been treated similarly. Yeah, did you run through the same biocompatibility tests when it's the same application but a different product of yours? Yeah, or if you have in a few years' time, if you have some history of your submissions, have all the products been updated to the latest standards in testing or in safety requirements? Yeah, these are questions that an inspector, an FDA inspector, can easily bring to you. Yeah? And the thing is, yeah, he knows the answer, and you should too. Because if the FDA has a database with all your product data, you should have one too. Because otherwise, you will easily run into problems or into questions that you cannot properly answer. Yeah? So, second takeaway, you should have a database for all your product details. Third part, digitalization is not adding a tool. Now we're leaving the eSTAR template a bit, but we think a bit further and wider. What is it about? What does it teach us? Yeah. What do we have from what is digitalization? Yeah. What we've seen in the eSTAR template. Yeah. We have structured data. We have the possibility to run endless queries, endless complex queries, or simple ones. Yeah. We can have workflows for reviews and approvals. Yeah. We have a clear validity of data. Yeah. You always know what's the latest data element is. And if everything runs very well, we have interoperability in our tool chain. Yeah. But two things stand out for me, and this is the structured data and the clear validity of data. Yeah. So we have our nice animal database here. So, and if you want to know, is the ice bear or the polar bear, is he there? You know exactly where to look. Yeah. And if you can still see the snowflakes, you know, okay, there's no polar bear. It's still some way off. Yeah. And everyone and everybody who looks into the database comes to the same conclusion. Say, okay, the polar bear, or for example, the EMC test is still missing, no question. And this principle is the single source of truth. If you have your product documentation in a database, you can work to this principle, the single source of truth. Yeah, you know where to look and you know how to interpret the things that you find there. Are these valid? Are these outdated? Are they in change? And I think this is the most effective part of digitalization. And this enables what, spoiler, in the 80s was called simultaneous engineering. So the manufacturing people or the service people or the purchase people, they don't have to wait that R&D is ready and done with everything. Yeah, they can look into the database and they find data from which they can deduct, are these already valid? Is this fixed? Or is it still moving? Yeah, should I rely on this? Should I base my work on that? Or do I have to wait until the next review when these data are released? Yeah? And this is the thing. Digitalization is not adding a tool, but you change the process, how you work. Yeah? And this is where you get the benefits, the gains. Yeah? The third takeaway. Now, I just said it's about the change in the process, but is it? Yeah? What really changes? If you put your work in the database, you put out your work for everyone to see in the company. Yeah, there's no hidden private drive where you compile your things and wait for them to be presentable. Yeah, you put them out in the database so that everyone can look at it and then. Yeah, this enables the real simultaneous engineering. This fosters discussion, and you have to decide how this discussion should work. Yeah, is it face-to-face or this digital discussion? Yeah, where you have a review item and you ask 3 or 4 people to comment on that. This is a digital feedback. Yeah, there are cases where this digital feedback is the right way to go. It's the fastest way to go. It's the easiest way to go. But there will be times and items and discussions where a face-to-face discussion is the tool that you should use. Yeah. The reliability of information is really its next level because of this single source of truth principle. Yeah. If you look into any project drive and you'll find something, you have to rely on structures that can easily changed, or things that can be missed during manual processes. You don't know whether this is fixed or not. Documentation systems help very much. Document management system help, but these typically are very slow because it takes a while until, let's say, risk management is complete. Yeah, it takes weeks or months. And if you have your risk management in a database, you can have sections. You can see sections that are already approved and released, and where you can rely on. Okay, this is the status quo, yeah, and this is not easily changed tomorrow. What we have seen is that this digital feedback that I talked about increases the feedback, so that there's more, yeah, because every information is basically only 2 mouse clicks away in the database, yeah. So if you're writing a test specification and you see, okay, this is not clear, my requirement isn't clear, and I have to go back to the user requirement. Yeah, this is a matter of 2 clicks, and you know where something comes from. And if you think this could be better, you leave the feedback. It's quickly done, it's easy, and it improves documentation very much. But you have to deal with this more of feedback. So these things change. They might be seen as process changes, but in fact, what is it about? It's about openness, it's about trust, it's about communication, reliability, and feedback. Yeah, all the warm and fuzzy stuff, the personal things. So it's also very much about culture. And this is my last takeaway from what digitalization brings us. Digitalization is not about a change in the process. Yeah, it is, but much more a change in culture. Yeah? And you have to remember, digital processes, they can be changed quickly. Yeah? They can be changed as quickly as software can be changed. Yeah? But humans do not change as quickly, and you somehow have to adapt to the pace of the humans around you to get them along on the journey to a factful digitalization. And this is the 4th takeaway. So in summary, you shall have a process to get your documentation ready to be input in an eSTAR template, or to be ready for a notified body review. Yeah? And this process should fill a database. The second takeaway. Yeah? You should really have your data all in the same database, because if you don't, you run into questions that you cannot answer anymore, or not in time. Yeah? Digitalization is not just adding a tool, but it's a change in the process. And it's not only a change in the process, but much more a change in culture. And these are the 4 things that I chose to present you as the things we've learned from the eSTAR template. And if you think about, do I have to use this eSTAR template for 510Ks? Right now, I would say not yet. There are 4 days left where you can submit a traditional 510K, because it's not October 1st yet. There are 4 days left, but from October 1st on, you'll have to use the eSTAR template. And I think among many other factors, this template will give us a push in digitalization of technical documentation that also the Europeans will benefit from. So in the end, if you want a solution for having a database with all of the nice structured data, yeah, come to us. It's aligned with the Medulus configuration that we created. There's a structure of the technical file within Medulus and all the templates for the documentation that comes out of it. You can get a development process that you can use. You can get all the training regarding the use of the software and the contents. And if you still have trouble with the contents, for example, if you do not have enough people to create the contents, come to us, come to KEYMKR, and we'll help you. Thank you very much for the attendance and for your patience, and I'm open to questions.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Wow, what a thing. We're looking into the future. You're right. Maybe we get this in Europe as well. Now, I haven't yet had the pleasure to fill out an eSTAR template. I very much look forward to it, of course. I have opened one and I've scrolled like 2 or 3 pages and realized that okay, this is going to take longer than 15 minutes. So I closed it again. How long does it take for a guy like you to fill out an eSTAR template? What's the fast? If I held a gun to your head, Thomas.
You never fill out this template in one go. So it's a process basically over weeks, because most of our customers, they do not have the process that ready delivers the information package that has to be put into this template. Yeah, you have to collect all the bits and pieces, and this takes time. So honestly, I have no idea if you sit down and scroll from one end to the other for a simple product. Don't know.
Yeah, but it takes weeks. That's the answer.
Yeah, basically it takes weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. And that also takes me to, you kind of answered this question already then, like if you ever get stuck, like you didn't foresee to have this information available and you don't know where to get it. And it's apparently, we thought we followed the standard. We thought we had everything we needed, but the eSTAR template has this annoying little text box that we didn't anticipate. I assume that happens. And how do you deal with it then?
Yeah, it happens. As with every file, some details are missing in the end. But the good thing is the template and all the questions, they are there. Yeah. So if let's say if you're 1/3 through your product development, take out the template and fill it imaginary with the things that you know, maybe with the things that you don't know yet, but you can derive all the questions that you need to answer up front. Yeah. So when you're done with your verification and validation, when you're on the home stretch, yeah, the possibility is there that you don't have any surprises there anymore. Yeah. And it's out there, it's easy. Go ahead. Yeah. Spend more than 15 minutes on the template. It pays off. Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like one idea that you said we should do a dry run on this early on, just to get heads up on what kind of information we need to get. And I get the impression that you're saying that we could benefit from develop our processes backwards from the eSTAR template a little bit, like knowing that this is the final output that we're going to need. We can then reconstruct our process to match that. Well, that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's a real guidance, and it's like a consultant. It's an easy go-to consultant that you can have on your desktop.
Yeah, and for all of us who are not native speakers, is it difficult to understand? Like I saw that warning message that you showed me, that was quite a piece of text there. but you mean that professionals in the industry, they should be able to relate to these kind of messages?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And everything goes wrong, you just take your German or your French version of the ISO and look up the corresponding section, and then you know for sure.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. Well, if you have any questions to ask Thomas about his experience with the eSTAR template and his recommendations, feel free to ask them in the chat. Thomas has promised to stay on for a little bit to answer any of your questions. He is also available for, with his expertise, for market access activities, as he just stated. And he also got his awesome Prüfungslab, right? Don't forget the lab.
Test lab.
The test lab that is available. Yeah. I think that I'm going to come back to you in a year or two and see how the eSTAR template has developed, and maybe there is an equivalent initiative in Europe or other countries for this. Thank you very much, Thomas.
You're welcome. Thank you.